So I'm Dusty at BVC Trikes. Today we're going to do a quick how-to on how to install your triple clamps onto your trike. So the first thing you'll do, which if you send us your stem, we'll press the stem in bearing for you. So it'll already look like this, ready to go. You're going to want to put a little grease, which I've already done, on the lower bearing. A little bit of grease on the bearing race before you put this in. You're going to want to usually easier to take the top bearing and your seal, just kind of set it in there after it's been greased, which it already has been. Get your castle nut ready. You can pop it in as soon as you put the bottom clamp in. Real simple, nothing difficult. An extra set of hands could help, grab them. If not, just take your time, get that locked in there. Got your seal, your washer. Once you get this started, it'll hold itself. So the next step you're going to want to do once you got this on there is grab your spanner wrench. Doesn't matter what one it is. Some people might not have one. You can use a punch and a hammer if you want to. Prefer not to. Use this, just kind of set it, snug it up by hand. That feels pretty good right there, which that'll be an adjustment you do after when you're done when the forks are in there, the top clamp, and you got the weight and everything on the front end. You can set it properly after, but at least just snug it up for now. You can kind of feel the resistance there. It'll be perfect.
So go ahead and...
So the next step is going to be to put the top clamp on. Slide right down. Got your nut. Put that down, finger tight. Leave it a little bit loose so you can move it. You're going to line the forks up, put them both in. This is still able to slide back and forth. Make it a little easier for you. Yeah, you're going to go and help me with this?
Yeah, well...
Sit down. Okay. By the way, I gotta get something clear. If you guys have seen that pretty sweet viral video floating around the internet, the dude jumping a pool in his underwear, that was me. Just to clear that. So, with the how-tos, we'll show you some good stuff, some funny stuff. Just subscribe, watch, and enjoy.
So...
So for the next step, the fork install, I've already got it up to about where I can get it myself. It's always nice to have a second set of hands. Build them to give me a hand. So usually just get something that's flat and nice that you can get in there nice and gently. Just barely put any pressure on the clamps just to loosen them up a little bit. Help you slide the fork up right where you need to get it. Just kind of line it up where you eyeball it. You know, you can adjust it and set it to where it needs to be after, but once it's in there and these get backed out, it pretty much holds itself. But to secure it, it doesn't hurt to put a bolt in the bottom clamp. Snug it up. That guy's not going to go anywhere, then you can move on to this side. Same deal. Next, I'm going to install the fork in the tube. Are you watching okay?
Well, man, they want to see me smash a fucking spear across the back.
You don't want to hit me with anything. And release a demon on you.
Release the demons.
You hit me with something.
Release the demons.
You hit me with something.
You don't. You come over here with anything in your hands and you bat you with this fucking fork tube. So, next step is putting the forks in. And it's always easy to have an extra set of hands or you're going to be stuck like this like I am. Be like, Eric! Grab the pliers, please. So just go a little bit gently in there. It's not going. Do I need to call my grandmother? Oh, look at that! Oh, wow, you. This is what you do when you're under stress on the camera.
Okay, pull it down.
Well, this is so much easier when Bill is helping me.
Just tell me when you're fucking
We're good right there.
Little plug for Matco Tools and Eric.
Yes,
Got
sir.
some pretty mint little scrapers.
They're
We
sweet.
use a lot of good tools.
Make some fucking music with them.
Use the thick ones.
So, if any of you guys work on anything, you all know what this is. A 3/8 snap-on lithium cordless impact. This tool right here is probably my best friend. You can take a motor apart in about a quarter of the time what it'd take by hand. But you gotta know what you're doing, because you could snap every single bolt and motor with this, strip one out, break them. You can do anything, but 16 years experience will get you where you need to be.
Obviously, you're just snugging. You're not torquing.
No, those will be retorqued after and we're all said and done. Just pretty much to hold it.
Probably mentioned too, we install a little bit of grease in the bolts, just on the threads, so there's no galling. Every once in a while, some of the bolts have a little burr on them.
Grease is always your friend. Doing things dry is never fun. That goes for anything. I gotta get the rest of the parts for this, and they're on a shelf because we have taken up every bit of room we have. If you take a look around, everything is in totes and stored, labeled. We know everything is. Just don't have a lot of room to put it. So this is why someone made a comment that I was a little out of shape in a previous video. So I've been slimming up. This is why. Because every time I need something, I gotta walk over here, grab and down the ladder at least 100 times a day.
Now, you said the snap-on impact was your favorite tool, but I think it's that ladder.
This is
You're
more
a
of a-
dusty ladder boy.
This isn't a tool. I feel like this is a necessity
Yeah.
for here anyways, until we get a 400. Other than that, you just grab onto the 460,000 pound tote and you just kind of muscle. But don't get me wrong, I do this about 100 times a day. Bill loves to store everything above his head. We just take it, just like that. Get that right there. And by the end of the day, I'll have put that back up there at least 5 times. But, hey, that's why I look good. It's in shape. And then the ladder goes back in its home. Every day. Every day. So the next step, install your bar clamps. These are already in there a little bit loose. You put a little grease on the rubber, set them in there. Just set the nuts finger tight, so they're just set in there. These are designed too on the models that have the rubber mounted clamps. You can reuse your own, or we sell different brands. Pro Taper has a nice setup that we can also sell that fits right in there. It's rubber mounted. It's good for, helps with vibration. It just makes it nice, a little more controllable, and overall feel just better. So once these are installed, next thing you'll do is put your bars in, tighten your bars up. So next step, set your bars in there, just kind of set them loose. Little tip of the day, most people know this, some people don't. Your bar clamps are set up to go on there a certain way, and they're stamped with a little tiny dot right there, little pinprick. Now that dot is designed to always sit in the front, because when it sits in the front, it sits flush here. That's where you begin your initial tightening, and then you tighten down the back, and that's where it clamps in. Those are set in proper, they don't tighten right, and it just looks like an amateur installed them. So do yourself a favor and put them in the right way. I usually go and kind of eyeball them, kind of where I want them. Just kind of lock them down with your fingers. Stays. Everyone's got their own preference with bars. My personal preference, ATVs, trikes, bikes. I always run my bars parallel with the forks. Seems to work the best. They don't handle funny. The rider position's nice. So you kind of adjust them forward or back a little bit. but an overall good setting to have them at, my personal opinion, and I'm sure many will agree, is, you know, kind of stand back and just follow the contour of your clamps and your forks and line up your bars even with that contour. It puts the bars in a good spot. They feel good. And honestly, I've tried every single position there is possible known to man, and my bars always end up here. I move them and I think they're better, and then I always revert back to this because it just works. So, common rookie mistake just made. And I did it to teach you guys so you don't have to do this over again like I'm going to show you. You go to take your bars, and you got the grip and the throttle. Oh no. Can you believe that? All that work, and it's got to come back off so you can put the throttle on first. So, lesson learned. Don't do what I didn't just do. Do what I'm about to do. Put this on first. Comes on and it's funny. They see it for like 5 seconds, and then they're. You know it's fun to watch. Nobody wants to watch some boring dude like stand here monotone and. You guys like watching me over there? I like watching myself too, usually when I'm standing in the mirror, washing myself up. So I can look good for the camera for everybody.
You gonna slide your throttle on all the way?
Yep. Now if this is on, you can continue to tighten your bars like I told you guys to do in the previous section of this video. Because now this guy is where he needs to be. And that guy over there he's an arsehole. I'm not going to say the bad word because it's just not how you do things. It's funny to make noise. Yeah. Oh God, I just want to build this thing.
Good.
So, I'm not going to bore you guys anymore and show you how to put your levers on, install your grips and all that stuff, because if you made it this far, you're doing good. If you can't install the rest of the stuff on your own, well, Google it. So, next step, installing your caliper and brake rotor onto the rim. The first thing you want to do, just for precaution, you know, if you have a fresh new wheel, it's powder coated, whatever, you don't want to scratch it. Nice to line some tape, masking tape or whatever on the inside of the rim right here like this. So when you go to line this up and put it in the machine, it doesn't it doesn't scratch anything on. So now that that's on there, set your disc in, grab your caliper, insert it into the disc, set this down on there, start your bolts. Go ahead and snug them down. After that, you'll want to go through and obviously torque them by hand to whatever your specs are from the manufacturer of the machine. Next, we'll install it on the trike. So on the newer bikes, a lot of them 14, 15 and up have the bigger front brakes. When you're running an 11-inch wheel in the front of these, the caliper is going to hit. So it can be ground down with either a flap wheel, belt sander, whatever you have that you have access to grind that down. It can be done, it's not difficult. There's plenty of material there to take away what you need to get it to have clearance and fit. The older bikes, you don't have to do this really as much because they run smaller brakes and it doesn't come in contact with the wheel. But the bigger ones, you will have to make clearance to get this to fit properly like it does here. It's not hard, it's not difficult, and there's plenty of material there, like I said, to take that down so it fits in there nicely. Steps installing the wheel on the machine. To make this easier, get you one of your best pals. We're not really friends, I can't stand him, but he's the only one here to help me with this. So, like you said, the tape is on here because your brake's gonna hang down here. So he's gonna just hold the wheel and come over here and line these up. Get your caliper bolt started. Like so. Grab your axle, which I have already greased. Good. Once you get her set in there, it's a one-man job from here, but it does require 2 people. It makes it a lot easier. Like I said, the tape is on there to protect the wheel from the caliper so it doesn't scrape or scratch anything up. Once you get everything installed, you can go ahead and peel the tape off and tighten and torque everything up. So after you've got your wheel installed lightly, you're going to want to take your time and tap the axle in and line up your disc in the center of your caliper bracket. It'll kind of center itself. What'll happen is when this is loose, it'll shift back and forth left to right. So you want to center this in that bracket like we just showed. This has already been done and centered and tapped through. So the next step what we're going to want to do is just lightly snug down these pinch bolts that'll hold your axle. You're going to want to come over here, leave these loose. You don't want to tighten this just yet. You just want to snug it up to compress everything. Kind of centers everything up, aligns it. Once that's centered, then you can go ahead and tighten down your pinch bolts. Some models require a sleeve that's inserted for the axle. Some require a special axle, depending on the model specific when you order your kit or whatever you're doing, which machine. That'll be noted. This one takes a special axle that's turned down for it with a sleeve that's made in the collar on both sides. Some won't, some don't require. Some will use the 250R axle. Other than that, you can go ahead and snug up and torque your pinch bolts and then tighten your axle nut and your front wheel should be good to go and installed next you complete the brakes.